Hare Krishna to everybody. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai. I welcome one and all to our Krishna Katha today. We're trying to do this every day. And our theme in the moment is just to sing the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, the glories of the holy name. That's all we need. And should glorify daily, glorify Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name of the Supreme Lord. They are all one. And they are very merciful. Srimad Bhagavatam, holy name, and Supreme Lord. They are all one. And they are ocean of mercy. And we're all made of that mercy. So we should daily glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, the holy name of the Supreme Lord. If you do so, it is assured that we definitely will attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. Shri Radha Madhav ki jai. Param Vijayati Golokira Pramadhaninam Sankitan Jagi ki jai. Param Vijayati Shri Krishna Sankitan Jagi ki jai. Guru Pramanandhiri Jai Om Shukara Param Saprava Jagacharya Stuttara Sarasishima Parama Radhya Paramam Pujapad Vaishnav Siromani Gauru Priyajana Krishna Prima Bhakti Dat Patita Pavana Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupada Param Saprava Jagacharya Ashtutara Satas Iskam Pratishta Bhiviti Samstapakacharya Vaishnav Siromani Gauru Priyajana Patita Pavana Abhajaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Gauriya Guru Vargapati Tudhara Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhakti Raghunatha Shri Gopala Bhakta Das Guna Sadguru Swami Prabhu Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ji Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavind Ki Jai Param Dayal Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Jai Pramanama Sankirtanika Janaka Prema Purushottama Shri Sachinandana Shriman Gauranga Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaura Hari Mahavarana Avatar Ki Jai Golokera Pramadhan Harinam Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai Juga Dharma Hare Krishna Mantra Ki Jai Brihat Midanga Transcendental Book Distribution Seva Ki Jai Granth Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana Ki Jai Jai Gauri Pramanande Haribo All glories to the Assembly Bodies Hare Krishna Glories to the Assembly Bodies Hare Krishna Glories to the Assembly Bodies Hare Krishna All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Guranga Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhanishmari Gaura Govinda Swamini Tinamine Gaura Graganya Gana Gotra Valurvaram Gauranga Guratama Gopala Kalpaviksham Gopala Gadaratiram Jari Singha Gaura Govinda Rishikam Varam Satata Namami Jai Narayana Namaskritya Narochevam Naruttamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayadmudirayit Vede Ramayane Cheva Purane Bharate Tata Advante Chamare Cha Hari Sarvatra Giyate Mukang Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girin Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Parama Nandamadhavam Krishna Kaitaputro Paramanirma Sharanam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vasishivadam Taputrayamanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Paririshvara Sabdhyurudhya Vurdhya Titra Kritibhi Shushu Vistakyanat Nigama Kalpatarur Garitam Phalam Sukamukat Amritadrava Sangitam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamanayam Murhurasika Bhuvi Babuko Anarthopasamam Sakchat Bhakti Jogam Adukyaji Lokasya Janatu Vidan Sakre Sadvata Sangitam Yasam Vesunyamanayam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhakti Kudupadete Pumsasoka Moho Vayapo Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Jad Vaishnamanam Priyam Jasmin Parangam Syame Kamamalam Jnanam Paramagiyate Tatru Jnana Viraga Vaiti Saitam Naskarnyam Avuskrutam Tat Sruvan Supatan Vicharano Paro Bhaktiya Vimuche Naro Arthayam Brahmasutranam Bharatartho Vinirnayo Gayatri Vasyarpaso Vedartha Paripurita Sarva Vediti Asanam Saram Saram Samadrutam Sarva Vedanta Saram Srimad Bhagavatam Esyate Tadrasamrita Trutasya Nanyatra Sradadi Kvache Krishna Janmadyasya yatam vaya itaratas Chate swavigyaswara Tene Brahma Udaya Adikavaye Moyanti Jasuraya Tejo Varimridam Jata Vinimayo Jatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Translation. O my Lord, Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water in the fire or land on the water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart. The highest truth is the reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this cult of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Therefore, O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Shrimvatam Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridyantastuhya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam. To hear about Krishna from the Vedic literatures, or to hear from it directly through the Bhagavad Gita, it is self-righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as the best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing him. Nasta preshwa bhadrishu nityam bhagavata seva bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati nastiki. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge, and as he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in devotional service of the Lord. Tadara justamo bhava kama lobha dayasya chetaitera navedam sitam sattve prasidati. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangha sajayate. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the signs of God perfectly. Bhidyate hridaya grantis, chedyante sarva samsaya, jyante chasakarmani, drusta evadmaneshwari. Thus, the Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of the material affection and enables one at once to come to the stage of asamshayam, samam, gramam, understanding of the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the signs of Krishna. So, the ultimate goal of life is to understand the signs of Krishna. So, understanding of Krishna, knowledge about Krishna, is absolute science. It is all scientific. We have two, sorry, excuse me. We have two things, jnana and vijnana. Jnana means knowledge, especially theoretical knowledge. Theoretical knowledge. And vijnana means realization of that knowledge. And this vijnana in Sanskrit can be translated into English as a science. Prabhupada also often he said this vijnana is a science. And Krishna consciousness, devotional service, is a science. You know, something sentimental or something concocted is a science. Science means you have experimentation. You can experience your formula. So there is a formula, and that formula, when applied with proper results, that's a scientific achievement. Like we believe in the materialistic scientists, because they have their theories, they come up with their formulas, and they have also laboratories and where they experiment everything, and they come up with some results. If we believe in. Of course, this is a material science, but spiritual science or transcendental science has only one thing to experience, or one experimentation, is love of Godhead. By applying the spiritual formula, the rules and regulations of the scriptures. By applying these rules in an appropriate way, in an authorized way, then we can experience the sentiment, or we can experience loving feeling or love of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Prem. So we're gonna keep going on for some time, singing the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name of the Lord. Why? Because the science, just like the material world, they have the books, where all the knowledge is written, and it's been passed on generation to generation. Science is the same from all ages. They may be adding something, but the basic or the rules are the same. Because as soon as the rules are changed, you can never get the same result again. So the science of the absolute truth is the same. In fact, everything I'm comparing, like making comparison between material science and spiritual science, because this material world is a relative world. This material world is a perfect reflection of the real world. Is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So the reflection comes from the reality. Like you get the shadow from the substantial object, then you get a shadow. You can never get shadow for nothing. So this material world is a perverted reflection. I didn't mention it's perfect because the reflection is exactly, it reflects the object. It's exactly reflect object, the substantial object, or the palpable object. That is a reflection. So in that sense, we can say reflection is perfect because it's like exactly like you copy something, you make a photocopy of a document, it's exactly like the document. But one is the original and the other is like, it's a copy. So this material world is, we can say it's a copy of the real world, but perverted. So, Krishna consciousness is science of Krishna, because Krishna consciousness is the science of the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, and that absolute truth person, absolute person, he is Krishna. He's not impersonal. In fact, anything spiritual is conscious, and when we use person, we call person. Person means conscious. You can never call it dead, inert, or an inanimate object person. No. Person means conscious being. He has a feeling. He he has emotions, that's a person. So for materialistic people, their understanding of person or personality, when they see this material body made of material elements, in fact, it's all material elements, they are dull matter. Dull matter. Earth, water, fire, air, all that. Gross material elements. They are called pradhana originally, according to the process of creation. And then they are lifeless. But when the Supreme Lord enters, and then Supreme Lord agitates the three modes of nature, or material nature, then we get this creation, and we have also conscious beings within this creation. I mean, living entities, living because there's life, and life comes from life, and the symptoms of life are consciousness, willing, feeling, desiring. So material science is like, or this material world is the perverted reflection of the real world, the spiritual world. So as we are parts, fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, Mame Vamshazuk Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita, we, all the living entities in the material world, is eternal, fragmental parts and parcels. So we have to, the ultimate goal of this, especially human form of life, is to understand the science of Krishna. And again, like as I said, to realize Krishna, realization of the absolute truth, self-realization. So like we've been discussing on Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, first chapter, and first text, number 1. That is the realization of Srila Vyasadeva. That is mature realization. O my Lord, Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth, and he is the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the material universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. Again, it is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. And by him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on the water. And only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reaction of the threemost nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. This statement, the first statement of Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning of Bhagavatam, is the conclusion. This is what one should realize. This is self-realization. This is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth, personality of Godhead. The absolute truth, this supreme person, like I was saying in previous session, Mayavadis, they say Brahman, 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 Brahman. Brahman means spiritual. Aham Brahmasmi means I'm a spiritual being. That means I'm a person. So, Brahman, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, Brahman koe Ishvara. Ishvara means a person. Ishvara means Parameshwara, Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have many Ishwaras, all of us, with some controlling capacities according to our grades in a conditioning in this material world. Each one of us has controlling capacity. You can control at least yourself, your close friends, whatever you have. You can control that. You can control the situation around you. And then this way, even in this human society, you can see the different controllers in different capacities. Someone may be controlling his own family, another one may be controlling the district of the community, department, the State Department, may be controlling the government, and so on and so on. And we have a higher controllers. There's the demigods in the material world because they control the material affairs of the creation. So in this way, because we are qualitatively as good as Supreme Lord, because we are Brahman, we are spiritual beings, we're conscious beings, so we have all these attributes of Krishna's. But Krishna is Parameshwara. Bhakti Thakur says in Srimad, to me, Sarveshwarishwara Brajendra Kumar. Tumari Chaya Vishwesrujana Sangar. Tumi Sarveshwarishwara Brajendra bhajan, but just to give some melodious, instead of just quoting, to sing it. Here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Tomari Shwarishwara Rajendra Kumar. Like I say that the goal of human life is to realize Rajendra Kumar, to realize the supreme absolute truth. And that supreme absolute truth, Advaya Jnana Tattva in Sanskrit, absolute truth means, absolute means no dual. There's no dualism, no dual. Advaya Tattva, and no dual absolute truth. Absolute truth, no Advaya Jnana Tattva. So knowledge, the realization of the absolute truth. And like I said, Mahaprabhu said, Brahma is Param Brahma. Brahma is person, but Krishna is Param Brahma, Supreme Brahma. And this Arjuna also, as a great devotee, intimate associate with the Lord, when Arjuna received in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna said, Param Brahma Param Dham, Pavitra Paramam Bhavam. Param Brahma. And Mahaprabhu said, Mahaprabhu defeated the impersonalists, Mayavadis. So Brahma means, Brahma Koi Ishvara, Paramishvara, Shastre Brahma. And the supreme Brahman is, like I said, Brahma means conscious, spiritual, whatever spiritual is conscious. And it's supreme consciousness. Brahman is sum total of all consciousness, supreme consciousness. Therefore, that Brahman is Paramishwara. To me, Sarveshwarishwara means Krishna is the Ishwara of all other Ishwaras, all other controllers. Is Paramishwara. This is Shastra Praman. Mahaprabhu says that supreme absolute truth is son of Nanda Maharaj. Advaya Jnana Tattva Braje, Brajendra Kumar. Advaya Jnana Tattva Braje, Brajendra Kumar. Brajendra Kumar Krishna, son of Nanda Maharaj, is the absolute truth. He is Parameshwara, he is Param Brahma. This is the realization. Arjuna realizes this, and Srila Krishna Dwapayan, Srila Vyasadeva, who wrote O Vedic knowledge, that just reading this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, he also offering these prayers to the Supreme Lord, because he has realized that absolute truth, personality of Godhead, similar to Arjuna. So it's not one person. Arjuna also says, Devala, Vyasa, Narada, all these great personalities, including Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have realized that Krishna is Param Brahma, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this knowledge is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Advaya Jnana Tattva Braje Brajendra Kumar. It's the science of Krishna. Bhagavatam is the science of Godhead. And the method, the formula to realize this is devotional service. Krishna said, Bhaktamam abhijanati, only through bhakti, only through the practice of devotional service unto Vasudeva. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Bhakti Yoga means to render favorable loving service unto Vasudeva Krishna. And realize him. So the formula is, we must hear from Bhagavatam. Because it is said, Shruta Ikita in Bhagavatam. Shruta Ikita. It's on one-way traffic. Means only by hearing. When we hear, we can see. Out of ignorance in this material world, we believe what we see, gross thing we see with our material eyes. If we blind, we don't see. But in spiritual platform, when you hear and then you see. Right? When you hear, you see. So Shruta Ikita. So to hear what? We should hear narration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like a Shravan. And we should hear Bhagavatam. And we have a living example. Parikshit Maharaj was a great devotee, emperor of the whole world, highly qualified descendant of the Pandavas Kuru dynasty, ruling the entire planet, descendant of famous king like Yudhishthira Maharaj and his brothers, out of brothers. They ruled this world perfectly well. They're empowered because they are great devotees of the Supreme Lord, his personal associates. Formerly, an emperor of the world, the king, should be a well-trained representative of Lord Vishnu, Krishna. Naradipa. Naradipa means king. Must be a great devotee. Therefore, we should call them Raja Rishi. Raja Rishi. They were not just king, like in this Kali Yuga, the Kshatriyas, administrators of the society, whether politicians of maybe empire or whatever. They are not qualified. They are all degraded because this is Kali Yuga. But formerly, the kings, the emperors used to be highly qualified. So, they used to be great devotees. Therefore, they could represent the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer. Like I sing this song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, to me, Sarveshwari Shwari Brajendra Kumar, Tomari Chaya Vishwesrujan Sangha. Oh, Brajendra Kumar, son of Krishna, you are the Ishwara of all the Ishwaras, supreme controller. By your mere will, creation, maintenance, and destruction of this cosmos, they will take place by mere willing of Krishna. And he said, by Krishna's will, by will of Krishna, Brahma creates this material universe. By his will, Lord Vishnu maintains this cosmic, this material universe, and by his mere will, Lord Shiva annihilates this creation. So here we're talking about Guna avatars, one of the 6 categories of avatars. We have a Lila avatar, we have Yoga avatar, Manvantara avatar, Shakti avatar, Purusha avatar, and Guna avatars. 6. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, Brahma creates by the will of Krishna, and Lord Vishnu, Brahma is the mode of passion, Rajagun. That's what he creates. And Lord Vishnu, in the mode of goodness, the Supreme Lord, he maintains that we have 3 gunas in this material world. Sattva, Raja, Tama. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So accordingly, those 3 modes, the creation is there. So Brahma creates, Lord Vishnu maintains, and Lord Shiva destroys. They are guna avatars, and they are representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna is Parameshvara, Sarveshwarishvara, control of all others. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said Brajendra Kumar is son of Nanda Maharaj, the supreme controller. And here in this Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, this verse, he mentioned that there's no other cause beyond Krishna. He is independent, Swatantra Bhagavan, Swarat, supremely independent. He is conscious of everything because everything is his creation. Just like spider is aware of his co-webbed. Anything happening, any corner of co-web of a spider, he knows. Because that's energy. The co-web, it comes directly from the spider. And also, when the spider desires, he absorbs everything. No more codes there. So, this is the analogy, and Supreme Lord is fully aware, is directly and indirectly conscious of his manifestations. All manifestations material. And Supreme Lord also, this way it is said, this Vedic knowledge from Brahma was imparted by Lord Krishna. And by him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. As they're bewildered by like somebody is bewildered by illusory representations, words in the fire or lenses on the water. We can see mirage, looks like water. We see mirage on the road, looks like water on the land, or fire in the water. So in this way, the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, he is his potency. Supreme Lord is almighty, and everything is his energy, no different from him. So except the Lord himself, everybody else is under the control of the Supreme Lord. So this is the science of Godhead to understand. And to understand this, to come to this realization, bhakti is only recourse. Bhakti is the only way. And this bhakti is performed or practiced according to the scriptural injunctions, according to the direction of the Supreme Lord himself. Because it is said, Dharma to Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. The principle of religion, or the root cause of the religion, is the Supreme Lord himself. Not the sages, no the demigods, nor anybody else. Dharma tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam, dharma mulai bhagavan. That dharma mula. Mula means roots. The root of religion is Supreme Lord himself. And this word religion comes from the word Latin relationship. Relationship. So why? Because this religion comes from Supreme Lord, is the root cause of that. And what kind of relationship? God created a relationship. Therefore, he's known now Rasa Vaisaha. Rasa means relation, different relationship. When we say Krishna is Rasa Vaisaha, the source of all mellows, relationship. And we have 5 main relationships: Shanta, Dasya, Vatsalya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. 5 main relationships we have. And we can see that in the material world, even in this perverted world, we can see that we are all engaged in some of those relationships, at least one of those relationships. That is, like I was explaining, nothing exists in this world which is not part of the absolute world, because this is a reflection. So this world reflects the reality, but reflection is not the reality. And yet it's perverted, this material world. Just when you look at the mirror, your reflection, your own reflection in the mirror, you see your right hand like left hand, acting like left hand, and left hand acting like right hand. That's called perverted reflection. So this material world is completely upside down, perverted reflection of the reality. So the Supreme Lord is Almighty. This is potency. And he himself is free from, he can never be an illusion, just Krishna Surya Sama. This material illusion is a material world called Maya, is like darkness. So Supreme Lord is compared to brilliant effulgent sun. Wherever there is sun, there's no shadow, there's no darkness. There's no darkness. Similarly, Supreme Lord is supreme reality, absolute truth. So Shastra says Bhakti is the only way to understand Supreme Lord. He is the source of all mellows. And those mellows, the original mellow is love. Love. Love is all we need. The Supreme Lord is Prema Thakur, is the Murti or embodiment of love. And the entire world says God is love. God is love. So because everything emanates from him, those is the source of rasas. So we have five main rasas who are all based on love. They're based on Sthai Bhav. Sthai means the platform of love. It's the Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya. All those relationships, they are called Rati. The base of this is love. Because why we have relationship with Supreme Lord? Because he is the embodiment of love. And whenever we mention love, we speak about love, there must be two sides. Two sides. Lover and beloved. Lover and beloved. So love is not one-sided. It's two sides. So therefore, Supreme Lord is one, and then he becomes two. That's the Supreme Lord, divine couple, Radha Krishna, or Lakshmi Narayan, or Supreme Lord in different incarnations, Ramachandra, Sita. Lord is always there with the energy. And because the Supreme Lord is a person, Supreme Brahman is a person, he becomes two personalities. Originally they're one. Why? Because when we speak about love, there must be two sides, as I explained. That's why the cause of this creation is love. God is one, but because it's love, then he becomes two, and then because this pair, divine couple, the cause of everything, then we see creation is always two things are there. The two things in creation. Dualities. As a person, or a persons, many of us, we have two legs, two hands, two eyes. The birds have two wings. We have a male, female, like this. Because the root cause of all this creation is love. Why? Because Supreme Lord himself is love. Therefore, we are made of love. The unique ingredient of the soul, spiritual being, is love. Love is love. Love is the cause. Love is the end. Love is middle. Everything. Love is the beginning, the end, and the middle. All love. Therefore, we say all we need is love. And that's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is glorified. He's glorified at the best of all the incarnation because he's giving Krishna Prem. Because this love is our, we're made of this love. Previously, people used to get liberation, mukti, but the real thing, the ultimate thing is love. That's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is praised, worshipped, glorified more than any other incarnation of Krishna. Krishna Prema Pradayati. Namo Maha Vadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayati Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauratvishe Namo. Srila Rupa Goswami offers this pranam after realizing the personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, is Krishna Chaitanya. I was saying this Supreme Lord is Supreme Consciousness. It's in Chaitanya, Chaitanya now. Supreme Conscious Being is there, and there are so many other parts and parcels of conscious beings, part of that Supreme Consciousness. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna Chaitanya. Krishna means Supreme Personality of Godhead, like I've been trying to saying this over and over. Is a cause of Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Radhi Govinda Sabakarna Karna. In Brahma Sangita, it says, Lord Brahma says, Krishna is Parameshwara, Ishvara Parama. Krishna is Parameshwara. He is Satchidananda, is made of eternity, bliss, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He is all auspicious, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, all attractive, is the cause of Sarvakarna Karana, is Satchidananda Vigraha. It has a material form. I was saying that in a conditioned soul, you consider a person, this dead body, made of dead matter. The person is the soul. You might not be able to see the body of somebody, but you can know that somebody is a person. We just don't call a person because of this body. Of course, in material ignorance, we think so. Just like when somebody said, my body, my nose, but at the same time they're saying it, but they don't realize it. They don't realize the knowledge, but said my body. Nobody says I body, I eyes, I this and so and so. No, my body. Though they say it, they don't understand it. So similarly, though we call person the soul, but not the body, the example, if dead body is there, people are saying, trying, hey, he's gone. He's gone. Did you see him going? You only realize that this body now is lifeless and the person is gone. But you didn't see how the person is going. So this is very simple. They know these things, but it might be so amazing. Maya covers people, ignorant people in this mature world. Therefore, we should overcome this Maya by practicing devotional service in order to realize our loving mellows, our loving relationship with Supreme Lord, because by nature we have eternal, perfect, loving relationship with Krishna, Param Brahma, Parameshwar, Supreme Lover, Beloved. This devotional service is formulated, is crafted based on the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarup. It's Krishna himself. The mellows of Krishna Bhakti is Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why we have to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam over and over, 24 hours we can. This is the only thing to do, to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, to glorify Bhagavatam. Even it is said in this Kali Yuga, Kali Kale Nam Rupa Krishna Avatar. Nama Bina Kali Kale Nai Ars Dharma, Sarva Mantra Sari Shastra Marma. It is said in this Kali Yuga, no other Dharma is there. Only chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevam, Kalo Nastiva, Gatiranya. This is Yuga Dharma is possible if we hear Bhagavatam. This message from Bhagavatam. The proof is that people who do not take shelter of Bhagavatam, like Mayavadis, like Mahaprabhu defeated them. They were great learned in Vedic literatures. They're Vedantists, they know the Vedanta, everything. They have also undergone severe austerities, sadhana. They realize Brahman, that's not cheap. Because that's once someone realizes his Brahma spiritual nature, there's nothing in this mature world. But still, they didn't appreciate the chanting of Hare Krishna, my mantra. You see? Even till now, many people there, even though those who know, who have knowledge of Vedas, They have Vedic knowledge like in India. India culture is very, very close to Vedic culture. They offer so many types of worship. They are engaged in so many ways of trying to please the Lord. And they have so many mantras. I remember I was sent to go and preach somewhere in Africa, southern part of Africa. So traveling from South Africa towards north to central. That means went through Zimbabwe and then found in Zambia. But everywhere usually we go, we meet some, people from Hindu community. They're very pious people because they have some, part of Vedic culture, and they can be very hospitable and receive, although they have their own reservations. But that happened when we went. They invited us, and I was leading that meeting on behalf of ISKCON, Krishna Consciousness. So we did kirtan and everything. They appreciated it. And then I took the opportunity to explain something about the process of devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, Krishna Consciousness. But someday they asked me straight away, they asked me a question, why you Hare Krishna people, you are always emphasizing on chanting Hare Krishna? Are there no other mantras? We have our mantras. So they were Hindu. I think they was from Narayan or Sai Baba. I mean, they were Hindus basically. They call themselves Sanatana Dharma. The Hindus. So yeah, they argue, they objected. Why is you only promoting Hare Krishna mantra? Where the mantras? So you see, this is very practical because they don't hear from Bhagavatam. And if they hear Bhagavatam, they hear it from the wrong source. In this regard, it's a very short story. There was a kingly palace. The king was there in his palace. And wherever the king is, there's so many kings. His palace, he has his, supporters, workers, ministers, advisors. This small world. So there was a very low class person who was doing very manual service, manual work, and that was to wash the dirty clothes of the palace. They put everything there, and then of course because the palace so many people, it's be heavy load of dirty clothes, of washing, laundry, and he used to take all this to the pond, water. Like now we have a washing machine or whatever, If you by hand, we go to take everything to the pond, river, somewhere, lake, and wash them. So these washermen of the royal palace used to carry this heavy load, but of course he couldn't carry that himself, so he used to do that with the help of a donkey, like we have seen in India or somewhere else, different part of the world. The donkey, a donkey is an animal of very low consciousness, very low consciousness. It works very hard when the service to the master. Very hard work. And why? Just so that it can get a bundle of grass as a food. And if it she ass or female, and it was just sex. This is a very low type of consciousness. Even in a human form of life, people are always engaged about just leading a merry life, enjoy life, and sex. They enjoy life in two ways. Eating standard and sexual intercourse. That's mature life. Nothing else between, nothing else. Everything else is just concomitant to this. But those are two sources of the enjoyment. Eating sumptuously, nicely, to their heart content, and having enjoyed sex life. This is mature life. So, therefore, it is said if a human being engages all the entire life just doing this, and he takes this like the only goal of life, the aim of, working hard just to eat and enjoy sex life, he's not better than an ass, donkey. So this watchman which used a donkey for many, many years, the donkey used to carry a heavy load of this, and then it became old. Somehow the donkey died. And because it was a low class of man, just like we said, Chandala, the dog, those who keep dogs, they have a relationship with those low animals. They almost consider them like themselves, because they're almost the same level of consciousness, animal consciousness. So when this donkey died, and this washerman became very sorrow-stricken, because he felt so sad. First of all, he had more donkey to do the work, and also he had, obviously, over the years, developed some kind of affection like we do have with the dog and a domestic animal. So I felt he was bereaved. And then he did what he did, is just like he observed this deep, like we do in the human society, when another human being dies. In some traditions, I've seen that in India and Africa, people they have deep, what they do, they shave up, shave their head like this. So this watchman did this and was lamenting so much. And it is said also, lamentation is the son of a Shudra, or low class people. That's ignorance. So he was lamenting, and finally he met the priest of the palace. The priest asked him what happened, and he told the priest what happened. And sorry about that. The priest said sorry. And it's like, you know what I mean? He's this type of priest, like we say, like a Brahma Bandhu. One is maybe Brahmin by name, but they don't have Brahminical qualities, unfortunately, called Brahma Bandhu. So this kind of priest, when he heard that, and he said, "Oh, very sorry," and said, "Also, you've shaved?" "Yes." "Having deep?" "Yeah." And so, very auspicious, I shaved it. And then the priest said, "Oh, can I shave too?" "Shave on my head?" He said, "Yes, go on and shave your head." And the priest did that. And then priest now came in contact with prime minister or minister of the king, and the same story. When this minister hear from this local type of priest, family priest, and they also do the same rituals. They also, the prime minister, chef, and then finally the king. I don't know what level of the consciousness of the king. This king also, obviously, was not like we're talking about Raja Rishis, real king. Maybe it was kind of like, ignorant king, like nowadays. He heard from the prime minister about the whole story about, and by the way, I didn't forget to say that this donkey name was Sunanda Gandharva. Sunanda Gandharva, like that. So he keeps, this watchman keeps saying to the priest, oh, it's Gandharva. So he mentioned this name. So they just, without any further inquiry, they just took it as a person, because the name is Sunanda Gandharva. Sometimes we name domestic animals with human names, names of human beings. So the priest took it, Sunanda Gandharva died, and he mentioned the same thing to the priest, to the minister. The minister also, while meeting with the king, they're meeting, and then the story came up. The king saw his priest shaved. Oh, what is this? And they said the same thing. And the king also joined them, shaved. But finally, the queen saw this after saying, he said, what's going on here? The queen was a bit intelligent. The queen was intelligent. Women, sometimes they have really subtle intelligence than men. And Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, women is the intelligence. So it's not all bad about women. The women also higher qualities, even better than men, So the queen was a bit intelligent. The queen said, okay, you have shaved, or you all have shaved because of Sunanda Gandharva. And the queen now says, okay, who is that Sunanda Gandharva who has passed away, and then you have shaved, including the king. See? But the king didn't ask, the minister didn't ask, the priest didn't ask, who's the Sunanda Gandharva? But the queen, come and say, so what's that Sunanda Gandharva? Who told you? We don't know. Because you don't know. You're talking about Sunanda Gandharva, you don't know him. And who told you about it? So the king said, this minister, and the minister said he heard from the priest, and the priest said he heard from the watchman. Okay, this first step of the investigation by the queen. So now the queen said, okay, you all do not know what is that Sunanda Gandharva. So the queen called upon the watchman, called for the watchman, sorry. And the watchman was brought in, and in the assembly, in that meeting, the queen asked the watchman, okay, who is that Sunanda Gandharva? And then the watchman told the whole story that happened with Sunanda Gandharva, was donkey. And now they all heard from this watchman the reality, the truth about everything, what happened. And then they felt themselves obviously, ashamed, stupid fools, that they shaved because of the donkey. They had a deep because of the donkey. It's a very low type of consciousness. So the moral lesson about this is that we must hear from the right source. We must hear from the right source. So we have to hear Bhagavatam from the right source. So I was saying that many followers of Hindu religion or Vedic cultures, they're still there, but they don't chant the holy name in this Kali Yuga. Why? Because they don't hear from the right source. And we have many pandits who give Bhagavad Sapta. People are coming, listening, but no mention of holy name. No mention of the holy name. But Vede Ramayani Cheva Purane Bharatita Adyantamati Madis Savatra Giyati. But this Bhagavad Puran, they're reading from, they're giving Bhagavad Sapta, is a Mala Puran, pure, spotless Puran, and is Nam Puran. Nam Puran. Puran of holy name. But they don't know it. And inside Bhagavatam, so many mentions of the glory of holy name. Especially the one we use in 11th canto. Krishna Trisha Krishna, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishna, Sango Panga Parshada, Yagye Sankirtana Prayer, Yajanti Isu Medasa. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishna, Sangopanga Parshadam. Yagye Sankirtana Prayer, Yajanti Isu Medasa. From the verse, the Mahaprabhu was quoting this verse to defeat my evidence. So, and he mentioned that in this Kali Yuga, the age of Kali, the intelligent Sumeda means those who are highly intelligent people, class people, they perform the worship of the Supreme Lord by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They worship the incarnation Supreme Lord, who is Krishna himself, but not in his blackish complexion, but it's Krishna. Because Mahaprabhu is Krishna, he assumed the mood of Srimati Radharani, and therefore he's Gauranga. He assumed golden complexion, but he's always chanting his syllable Krishna, always. Although he's Krishna himself, although his complexion is molten gold, Gauranga, but he so chants, he's accompanied by his weapons, by his limbs, his direct plenary expansion, his Nityananda Advaita Charya, the sublimes, Srivas and all other Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and finally his associates, Gadadhar and so on. So, this is mentioned in Bhagavatam. But those people, they read Bhagavatam, they do subtle, but they can understand this. That means they are not bona fide source. So therefore, Bhagavatam must be heard from the right source, from the Bhakta Bhagavat, who is Gaura Priyajana, Krishna Prishta, devotee Lord Krishna. Then, by hearing Bhagavatam, we come to know that holy name is everything. Holy name is the Supreme Lord. Is Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma Hoy Harinam Sankirtan. So Bhagavatam and holy name, they one. If we hear Bhagavatam properly, we come to to take shelter of the holy name. As propagated by Prima Purushottama, Sankitaneka Janaka, the father of Sankirtan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nothing else. And this Bhakti Yoga is the chanting of the holy name. And when we chant the holy name in associations, especially congregational chanting of holy name. And so as I said, that intelligent people in this age, they glorify the Supreme Lord in congregational chanting. Yagi Sankirtan. Yagi. Sankirtan Yagi. Sankirtan Yagi. Yagi Sankirtana prayer chanti Sumedasa. The highly intelligent people, they take to this Sankirtan Yagi and Kali Yuga to worship the incarnation Supreme Lord. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I'll stop here. This is the glories of Bhagavatam is unlimited. The glory of holy name, unlimited. By the grace of Guru and Gauranga, we are given this humble opportunity to remember this teaching and try to imbibe this teaching in our daily life. And which, if you can't hear from anyone or just reading Bhagavatam, Prabhupada has given us wonderful authorized knowledge through his books. Read Bhagavatam, glorify Bhagavatam. Don't think that I'm going to read Bhagavatam and then I become pandit or understand everything. No, you won't understand. However, if you have decided to, I can understand Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is achintya, inconceivable, but let me worship the Bhagavatam. Just like somebody says, I don't know what Lord is. I don't have a spiritual master. I don't know any clear understanding. God is God, but with faith, natural faith, he prays, God, please help me. Right? From the core of the heart. The Supreme Lord is there in the heart. He will make all arrangements. So similarly, if you glorify Bhagavatam, there's no reading, but glorify Bhagavatam. Offer praise to Bhagavatam, like everything we're doing here, all those long prayers, you glorify Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam is Grantha as a Kripa, the Supreme Lord. Glorify Bhagavatam, and to chant this Hare Krishna mantra, you don't need to say, oh, I'm so impure, I'm not initiated. No, this doesn't require initiation. Just accept it. Just accept the words of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Although you don't have spiritual master, somebody, a wonderful association, but from your heart, you know that there's a Lord. Pray and glorify Bhagavatam, like we said yesterday. The four manifestations of Krishna is material world. Bhagavat, Tulasi Ganga, Bhakti Jani. Grantha Bhagavatam, Tulasi, Ganga, and pure devotee. They are living visible manifestations of Lord Krishna. Echarisan. Krishna Vigraha. Bhagavata Tulasiga Gaya Bhakta Jane Chaturda Vigraha Krishna Echarisane. Chatu Vigraha Krishna. Chatur, 4 Vigraha Krishna. Chari, 4. So, offer prayers daily, Bhagavatam, and always take the opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in association with loving devotees, authorized devotees. In this way, we develop Rati in the service, loving service of the Supreme Lord, which is Save Paro Dharma, Supreme Dharma, and that devotional service is Bhakti Yoga, Vasudeva Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga, Prayujita. We're in the service to Vasudeva's Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga is Krishna Nam, Shmarakanda. Shmarakanda. So we get Bhagavad Gita, we get Nam, and when we're fortunate, we get association of Gora Priyajana, Vaikuntha Priya, the embodiment Bhakta Bhagavat, embodiment of Bhagavatam and Holy Name. Jai, all glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Haribo, Panchakalpatarvescha, Kripa Sindhu Bevacha, Paritanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Grantarashma Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Param Jayati Shri Krishna Sankirtan